here at Solano Community College. I'm your host, JP, joined here by Brandon, Brendan, and Alvin. And today be we're going to be talking about what we've learned in public speaking class. It cut up into three segments: what we've learned, what our experience with public speaking before taking this class, the skills gained during this class, and our expectations for the future with our newfound knowledge. So, starting with our experience with public speaking, Brandon, tell me, how did you feel walking into class on the very first day?
For me, walking into class the very first day, I was really hesitant over, public speaking. I kind of am somewhat familiar. I can strike up a conversation with just about anyone, on a one-on-one platform. But when it's me talking to a group of people, it was kind of hard before this class, maintaining their attention to what I'm saying and presenting my thoughts in a way that I can remember the next portion of what I'm trying to say. It was very hard for me to do that, so walking into class, my expectations were trying to get that achieved, as well as maintaining proper speed, not going too fast, not going too slow, you know. So with the expectations that I set for myself in this class, it was really nice. It allowed me to reflect over time, doing what we've been doing, to see how I can grow. Whether it be the first day reading the first syllabus, knowing what we're going over, how we're going to do that, and it really just, my expectations were pretty in the middle, I would say.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Do you think it was because of bouncing off the other person's response that led to you rambling off?
I think it was more when I rambled off, I would just lose focus on the end goal of what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to get across. It's easy for me to get sidetracked in what I'm saying, or it was at the beginning of this class. So I wouldn't really contribute it to lack of attention on someone's part. I would contribute it to me not having stuff in the proper order to maintain that awareness of what I'm saying.
So what you what you were speaking about before taking this class is a bunch of disorganized information, and you were here.
Well, I wouldn't say disorganized. I would say more along the lines of, I would say one thing and then go into it, but not really know how to transition into the next. So it would just be the one topic trying to get on to the next.
It sounds like you're saying that you'd find yourself with in speaking being distracted because you didn't have a pre-established track to be on.
Yes.
So
yes.
you'd go into the conversation and you'd find yourself drifting off, but without a reference point of what to get back
Yes,
on
exactly.
to, it kind of influenced how your overall speech would
Yeah,
come
so
out.
I would notice that I'd be getting off track of some sorts, and I would try to bring it back, but I wouldn't know, I wouldn't say proper technique, but just know how to transition back into what was being stated in the first place.
Makes sense.
It's like solitaire. You play so much to the point where you get stuck and you don't know how to go back. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Life lessons through solitaire.
So apart from that, Alvin, tell me, how did you feel walking into class for the very first time on that day?
Well, it's not complicated. Obviously, I didn't have much experience walking into the class. With few, maybe circumstances where before I'd give a safety brief or, just, what's another time? I think in high school I probably did a speech before, just memories from earlier. Now, taking that into account, I was kind of confident walking in. You know, I was sure I knew what I wanted to do for my speeches. I had no problem thinking of what to do for my speeches. It was all, you know, pretty ease of mind. Now when it came, kind of like Brandon was on, like the organization, speaker recall, being able to know where you're at, ease of remembering. I struggled, and you know, it took me quite a bit of understanding to know where I went wrong. Just taking in the criticism.
You had trouble engaging with your audience and being yourself in front of a group of people.
Yeah, it was pretty hard. The first day, yeah, I'd say it was like that for sure. Yeah.
And did you, by any chance, have this script mindset when you walked into class that day? That might have been.
Yeah, yeah. It was more so as on the lines of playing into my anxiety. You know, little mental games and stuff like that gets the up rounds and up. You know, as far as conquering those, I feel like I'm still trying to get better.
I see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was nice to hear. Brandon, how about you?
Yeah, I already have an okay amount of experience. When I was young, I enlisted, so I got plenty of opportunities to speak to groups, to provide instruction and whatnot. With enlisted and officers about like weapon systems, like drill formations, and like you mentioned, like safety briefs or debriefs. So at a young age, I was already familiar, quite versed in talking in groups. It doesn't mean like I was like perfect or super great at it or anything, but like I guess like I talked to you before, you said you just kind of like grind through it, you know, chip away at it and get through it. So it was like that. I've also like been in studios and done music, which is like there's performances, so I've performed or hosted like small or medium venues, and that's been like free form kind of speeches, and then also like writing it down, so scripted things. I guess like before the class, I know that like I do speak very fast. In these environments, it's important to get a lot of information through in a short period of time.
Yeah, you're just like me.
Yeah, and so with that, like coming into the class, I already knew it. Maybe I would be practicing like slowing myself down a little bit more.
Maintaining a better pace, kind of.
Changing the pace, you know, like
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you're so used to doing things like on a time frame, it's a lot different when the objective is not time. It's engaging or getting engagement from the audience or who you're speaking to.
Mhm.
So that's something I'm interested in. Or with my my public policy major, that's something that is likely going to be required of me as I continue and stuff. But before coming to the class, I knew that, like you, I would go on like tangents a lot, but I do have a lot of practice on pulling myself back, noticing, you know, when there's digression. So
So compared to Brandon, how did you actually tie back to your main points?
what's the question?
So unlike Brandon,
How did I get back to the?
yeah, how did you get back to the main point?
I immediately just identify and know when I'm going on a tangent. So you might hear me say, and this is a tangent, but before I go on a tangent, you know, which is like maybe reminds me to come back on when I'm done too, or something like that. So maybe identifying that it's about to be a tangent or a run on, a distraction ahead of time. I guess like I do have to gauge and pick and choose whether or not I'm going to go on that tangent, if it's worth it to get across extra information, or if it's going to subtract or take away from my main conversation or speech that I'm giving. So I do have or did have experience coming into the class, but were definitely things that I was interested in getting better at or working on, and taking from the course.
So what was your preferred method of speaking throughout all of this? What did you align with speaking towards, like what group and how?
Preference wise, do I prefer free form
Yeah,
speech or
either
if I
free
perform
form or
scripted or
Oh,
written.
scripted or podium speaking. What was your preferred?
I mean,
before
I would
this?
imagine the objective for anybody is balance to be able to yield results that you would like under multiple circumstances. So, you know, like me saying I'm already natural at free form, it's me seeking out actual scripted speech,
Getting the
outline
balance
kind of
between the
things,
two.
which
Okay.
So,
which brought me here.
so you preferred both scripted and freeform.
Yeah, I just whatever I care about efficiency and effectiveness in communication. So whatever means or tools I need to utilize to yield that result is what it is that I'm going to do.
I see. Well, that was nice to hear.
Hmm?
But unlike you guys, um, for me, I've never exactly spoken with anybody for the longest time. Not anybody that I was familiar with. So, like, I can't even meet people's eyes because I just didn't know them. Not
Mhm.
until like last semester, I dropped the script mindset to begin speaking on my own preference, my own um, from from my own memory. And well, that strengthened my voice by a ton. However, because I couldn't really know anybody, and the fact that I didn't exactly get to get close with anybody in particular during my past classes, I was struggling to engage with my audience. That's why I wanted to learn more about eye contact.
Hmm.
But yeah,
So you're saying before the class, you noticed that you require a familiarity or like knowing your audience. Otherwise, you would have issues in engaging with them.
yeah, I mean, well, I guess
Okay.
like despite knowing other people's names, I feel like that's not enough to actually fully meet people's eyes. But well, yeah, that's
I mean, and you can't always know your audience when you have to speak. So it's probably
yeah, it's even worse when you can't exactly connect to them.
okay.
Me personally, I've noticed you come out your shell a little bit, JP. Like before, when we first started class, you were kind of kept by yourself, you know. And then when you came in and showed the deck of cards, and then came into the group, you really came out your shell. So I can tell this public speaking class has helped you.
Thanks, Brandon. And I can tell from what you said now. We've heard a lot about each other. So, for example, Brandon, you start mumbling off in a bunch of information that you know. Brandon does the same thing, but on a more moderate scale. And Alvin, you suffer from anxiety from being in front of a large group of people. I feel you. And as for me, I struggle with actually connecting with my audience. And knowing this it brings it brings a unified collection of insecurities that we used to have in the past. But now that we've heard all of it, I think it's time that we move on to our next topic, the skills that we've gained during this class. So, Alvin, I think we'll start with you. So, like, what was one of the skills that you gained during public speaking, and how did it help you?
Yeah.
I feel kind of
I guess it was organizing.
organizing your information.
Yeah. Instead of going in there with that mindset of not knowing what to do with information and how to put together a collage speech. I learned clarity, you know, delivery, you know, ease of remembering. Like we were talking about how that was the issue in the beginning and stuff like that. And now it's getting a little bit better because you're organized and you actually know where the stuff is going, and you kind of read it over and you practice over and over again.
It becomes part of your perception.
Yeah, and there's this part of the brain called neuroplasticity. It's like when the sympathetic connections in your brain actually start healing itself.
Really?
It-
How come?
It affects your learning and memory directly.
Is it because of repetition?
Right. it's because of repetition.
Repetition. I see.
Yeah, man, and I learned a lot from this class, taking in like all the stuff that we do in preparation, like with the outline. That's a lot of information right there, just knowing how to do the outline. You
And
know,
how did this help you deal with standing in front of the classroom for the very first time?
I say like I can stand in front of the classroom and talk a lot longer now than what I used to be able to. Like before then, I probably had a good solid minute or three before I start getting like embarrassed or nervous or sweaty. Now I can sit in front of the class probably for about 5 minutes and not a drop of sweat, you know?
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah.
Well, I'm happy for you either way. So, what about you, Brandon? How, what kind of skills did you gain through this class, and how did it help in the long run?
There was just tons of practical information available in the module, and like the like papers that we were provided, like lots of templates that show us the like structure and format. And I like it. It's like a guideline, but also like I made a lot of adjustments in the templates to kind of cater to my style of things, but having those templates in the first place. So I learned a lot from the outlines. We had outlines for different things, but we focused on like the similarities of them, and then like how to convert those to like podcast structure as well. So like that alone, like having a template where you're like, I got to do a speech or I got to do a show, something just to like grab and start throwing your ideas onto, you know. So that's like an asset to me that I'm grateful that I have. As far as like other things, like we went through a lot about verbal and nonverbal communication, which is like even when talking about where do you stand when doing your presentation.
Yeah.
It's not really like telling you where to stand. There's like a psychology involved in nonverbal communication, you know, what's distracting, what's attracting, and so things like that we learned, you know, like little techniques and tricks, maybe like where you point your toes is where you're going to be looking, kind of a thing, you know, where you like orient your shoulders will influence where your head is directed and stuff like that.
It all starts with confidence.
Confidence. So, I mean, we can go on a tangent if you want about confidence, but I think confidence is like, I think confidence we learn by going through the motions and seeing that everything's going to be okay, you know. So I think like I did learn that. I guess it's not learning. It's like I was provided opportunities to get better at my confidence in the class. I didn't lack an ability or will to confide to be confident, so I didn't have reserve when I talked, but provided more opportunities. It's just like going to the gym. You get more reps. You're gonna. It's like muscle memory.
Yeah.
So I'm all about the muscle memory. Voice projection. We were like provided lots of opportunity for that.
Oh,
even
yeah,
like
different vocal tones.
that's what you like. You like different vocal tones.
Yeah.
But even like here on set, you know, with like noise that could distract. It's not just on set. You could be in any environment. If you're doing like a speech, like in public or something, it could be there's a lot of things. It could be cars. It could be like a leaf blower or something like that. So.
A
So,
light.
so I guess like the majority of these things that like I'm learning or learned in the class are not just speaking, they're listening. Where there's like listening to, or like seeing is also listening, like listening to where the projector is and who you're going to be blocking when you're giving your speech.
Just all around awareness of what you're doing, who's out there, what's around you, where you're gonna stand, what you're gonna say, how you're gonna present it. I think it's
Yeah.
overall, instead, like you said, confidence earlier, I think it'd be a mixture of confidence plus awareness
Yeah.
is what I mainly got out of this.
Yeah, but like if we're against the environment here, what can we do?
If you're against your environment,
If the environment is against us, like if you're speaking in a
Adversities. Oh no.
yeah, like if you're speaking in near an active construction zone with a good amount of people in one place, what can we do?
yeah. I mean, from this class, I guess like we would have learned that using your body language,
Mhm.
nonverbal communications might be more necessary if you can't hear me and I'm describing something that's up in the sky, but my hands are showing you that movement. It doesn't
And
matter as
voice
much if you heard
projection.
me.
And
Things
you can use higher voice projection, whether you talk like this, or you talk like this, or you use a microphone.
yeah.
Erratic movements.
And even in this, I guess like what the claim is that we were provided a bunch of tools and skills to utilize with specific situations, but those tools can be used in numerous situations we
In every
haven't discussed
situation,
yet. You know, so again, I see that like what we were provided was a bunch of tools. We weren't necessarily obligated to build something specific that we were told to build. We were given the opportunity to see what we could build with these tools, and for us in this situation, it's in the form of different topics or podcasts.
And I feel like it helped a lot during the situations, like with me learning how communication can fall through over time. You know what I mean? Whether I say something to Alvin or you didn't hear the same thing that I told Alvin, but you guys are right next to each other. And that's, communication.
Yeah.
Everybody communicates differently
Yeah, and
or
right now,
receives communication.
right now you're like talking in the way you're describing it, and we were talking about like the noises and whatever, and that reminds me of the Shannon Weaver model.
Yeah, the Shannon Weaver
the
model.
signal and the receiver, or like the speaker and the
And
listener.
then the line that was drawn, it was all the way over here, and then he would do,
Yeah,
and
that's a
then
bit
finally
chaotic.
it got over,
Yeah.
and it's not even the same message. It's like the telephone game. You have a circle of people, and one person says the cat, and then
Yeah.
it gets to you, and now it's the chalupa is big. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, and that's just
You eat a lot of Taco Bell, huh?
not really. I had to cut that back.
Okay, well, that was all very nice to hear. Brandon, do you have anything else to add based on your experience?
Another thing I really learned was audience attention, maintaining eye contact, like you were saying. It's very hard not to maintain eye contact. You drift off or something like that. But as
Also,
long as
knowing enough contact, like measuring the amount of eye contact. You don't want to be overdoing it or underdoing it.
well, that's why you survey the room. You wouldn't just maintain eye contact like you're talking to one person. You would survey this person, so everybody feels like you're specifically talking to them.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can't exactly look at everyone in the room. And
That's why you survey, John Paul. Survey. I'm looking in a general vicinity. Like, if there was a whole bunch of people right here, right? I wouldn't be making eye contact to every person. I would be looking in the general vicinity of the group of people, like surveying, talking this way and then rotating a little bit, talking this way and going, not going, oh yeah. Like that's
Yeah, that's basically what I was
terrible communication right there. That's horrible.
Brandon, do you agree that surveying is like a good way to make sure you're meeting the eye contact standards right there?
I mean, you don't want to be eye screwing anybody the whole time while you're giving a speech. Like, oh yeah, the policy for this, and then it's just like, what?
Yeah, I guess like what we learned in the class is that there's these tools that could be used to control or influence our audience or our crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're talking about like maybe the extremes of one of the tools right now, but it would be like obviously if you're using eye contact as a tool, you would be mindful of when you've like overdone it.
Yeah.
So if you're using a hammer, you would know when you've overdone using the hammer. You know
Yeah,
what
you
I'm
wouldn't just
saying?
hammer a nail that's already
Yeah,
done.
so
there,
I think we're
hammer
talking
again.
about more of an operator error if it becomes super creepy or something like that. But as far as like what we learned in the tool of eye contact to engage and influence or control the audience makes sense, and through practice it seems to yield that result. I guess like another tool that I liked, and I did like a little paragraph on it, is feedback. And even in this conversation, I noticed JP utilizing a lot more feedback than he was using previously.
Yes, like what you said. It's like what Brandon said. He utilizes feedback, but ends up
Yeah,
going.
we had an opportunity to take these skills back and use them at home. For some extra credit, I used feedback was the skill set that I used. I'd mentioned how like with feedback, it like gives you the opportunity to circle back around and maybe clarify things that could have been mixed up. We talked about how like only 20 to 30% of the actual information is getting through in exchanges anyway. So by feedback, it's like a circling back, a recurrence, so that you provide an opportunity for more clarity. And so with practicing that at home and even now, we're able to kind of like maybe triangulate or pinpoint the intentions or the actual the meaning that the person who's speaking to us is trying to convey. So that's another one of the tools that we learned that I practice. I had already practiced it before, kind of just in being compassionate or empathetic, like trying to be a caring listener, but to actually like maybe see it more as like a specific intention tool. Like I do find myself utilizing it a lot more since taking this class. So in the class, I did one speech. This is be the third podcast. I liked getting the reps in on the outlines, so we did get a good amount of writing in. Also, the peer evaluations. We in the class got super comfortable with seeing the evaluation as constructive criticism instead of personal attacks and whatnot. Also,
this reminds me of the collage speeches that we used to do on the third week. So, I'm sorry, but on that week, one of the things that stood out, like for many of us here, was different vocal tones. And what happened during my collage speech was something like this. Oh yeah, you didn't expect that, did you? You guys looked at the card, right? But yeah, that's what I assumed ever since then. Despite the insecurity of people thinking, GP, that's cool and all, but what the fuck is solitaire? But yeah, that's basically one key thing that I took away from this course, is that utilizing different vocal tones is what impacts the weight of your words. It's like because my cards is one of the most memorable things that stood out to me at the time. And what I expected from you guys, despite not knowing the game all that much, is because I presented this deck of cards with that high volume. That's when my voice pitched. So what I'm trying to say here is that using a diverse amount of vocal tones really helps in a conversation, especially if you're trying to prove something, or if we're transitioning into the next topic. Who knows? Maybe you'll be trying to prove something in politics one day, and then when you want to deliver a hard point, you just raise your voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good example.
But, well, despite all of that, I think it's time that we move on to our last and final topic. Moving towards the future with our newfound skills. And, well, as we look towards the future with our newly equipped knowledge, we wonder what kind of opportunities await us in the future, whether it be for a job or for further education. Who knows? Maybe we'll need to like use our skills to win an argument in a bar one day. I don't know. But anyways, I'll leave it to you guys. What kind of opportunities?
Well, I know for sure I'm going to be applying at the VA about a lot of my stuff, and I think one of the ways to get an upgrade is to go through like a couple of questions or like maybe like a case or something like that, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to present something to someone at some point, and I'm just thankful I got to go through this class. Like, I'm going to know how to put together a speech. That's a form professionally that I'm going to use to try and get what I need done. That's one way I'm going to use, what I gained from this class. further in my career welding, once I get behind the lines and stuff like that, I'm sure I'm going to be giving tons of safety briefings about OSHA or whatever the case may be. Yeah. So those are
And how would you relate yourself now compared to who you were 6 weeks ago?
He's more confident. He's definitely a lot more confident. He's a lot more empowered, and he kind of knows what he's doing going into the speech.
You're addressing yourself right
Yeah.
now. He's, yeah, go on.
Yeah. So yeah, moving forward, he's definitely changed, and he's soaked up some game from these few classes, which is it's amazing class. I think anyone should take it. You never know. Going up, you can be moving into the film industry, kind of like what Brandon does. I don't know exactly what you do in the film industry or production side of things, but this could probably help you there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there any lingering disadvantages that you still feel now? Or
A disadvantage, I'd say, is on the proposal, which is not that hard, right? 3 main segments, and you make your proposal, but I didn't get as much as I can out of it. I was still kind of shaky when it came to like the topic. If the topic changed, I won't really know how to do the proposal. As far as like this proposal came, doing it about the class, that was pretty easy, right? But I feel like I can give it some more practice, definitely, in the long run, and I will probably turn out good, So
yeah, it really showed when you cut in to my intro on our last topic. It was unexpected, but at the same time, it was not unwelcomed, and I must commend you for that. All right, well, Brandon, would you tell me, how do you compare yourself to now to who you were 6 weeks ago?
Now to 6 weeks ago, I would say that I'm more confident in staying on track when speaking. I don't really dwell or delve off onto tangents anymore. Light tangents sometimes, but I feel that I'm able to maintain the audience's attention more throughout when I speak, and just being able to put a proper template for how I'm going to say something, why I'm going to say something, and when I'm going to say a citation to it.
and who you're gonna say it to.
Or
Depending on his audience.
but mainly what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it, and where the citation's going. Because you got to cite when you're doing public speaking. You can't just come up with some information and be like, oh yeah, that's what it is.
You just gotta go with the flow.
Yeah.
Doing that, having a good repetitive outlook. Before I didn't really practice my stuff. Now I practice, whether it be talking to my dog, just practicing with my dog, or practicing with my practicing with my grandparents or something like that. As long as you practice, you should be okay on speaking publicly.
What about the opportunities that you seek towards the future? How do you think your current skills gained from this class will help you in the long run?
Well, I'm a psychology major, so I'm going to have to write
That's perfect.
papers, speeches, essays for the next 12 years of my life. So
Analysis.
yeah, I'm gonna have to do a whole bunch of that. So coming here, it's not really just public speaking that I learned for. I learned for in just English in general. When I write a paper, I'm gonna write it in relative to that template, just more in depth. I also learned how to incorporate the knowledge of this class just in talking to you guys. I'm not rambling, I'm not getting off point. I'm actually trying to engage with you, eye contact, all that stuff. So I've learned that, and I feel like that's going to be useful when I go to give a speech about anxiety or PTSD in the near future.
And despite having only one collage speech in the entire semester, do you think that helped?
Like I said, I'm not. I mean, it was more along the lines of trying to stay on topic. Me speaking to a group of people was kind of hard, only due to not staying on topic. So now staying on topic more, I feel like I have accomplished my goal in this class. I can see myself using it in everyday work, talking to my boss, going to the store, talking to a clerk, or asking somebody for help or something like that. You know, it's really beneficial coming to this class.
That's nice to hear. Brandon, what about you?
From the beginning of the class till now, I would say like I notice a difference, I guess primarily in my listening has improved quite a bit. And my patience has also improved quite a bit. As far as like techniques and skills that I'd be utilizing personally, I have like a lot more familiarity or like nomenclature terminology for things that I've already practiced and maybe didn't know I was doing. So it like, I guess like continuing, I have a lot more clarity or like
You sharpen them further than.
yeah, so there's like, yeah, I'm sharper in the things that I liked about my public speaking or group speaking ahead of time. With my major, I can continue utilizing the templates or how I modified them to be more tuned to me. So I'll probably continue utilizing the outlines and making adjustments to things that are more practical for my specific situation. Same with the podcasts. Like, I guess with anything, any change or influence you're trying to have on anything requires that communication and exposure to the public. So whether it's like a public speaking or a podcast, these are both sensible means of getting messages across or conveying information to the public. So I'll continue thinking about concepts or maybe collaborating with people, even though we don't need to do podcasts. Maybe it'd just be something to invest in or to maintain productivity. And I guess I like learn during the class, like the amount of research I'm willing to do for things that I care about, you know. And so moving forward, like, you know, maybe applying all of this to the things I've already been caring about, but now I have again more tools to build those issues or to build those solutions for the issues that I'm bothered by. So yeah, I guess like
It shows growth.
What's that?
Definitely, like you grew from this class. Like,
for sure, and I think that's like with anything, you know, communication though we utilize all the time. So it's like we were just in a class that's like about automotive when we drive cars all the time, or we're constantly around automotive. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I would see it being super difficult for anybody to come into this course and not just leave with a bag of tools that they can use to either build something outside of themselves or deconstruct and learn more about themselves internally.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I definitely do. This class was really nice. Enjoyed the workflow and got a whole big bag of tools to use. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
And not to mention, we also overcame some insecurities that we had. But I'm gonna save that for later. For me, I honestly don't know where or when I'm going to be using these skills, but I know that one thing's for sure. I'm not going to back down from my audience. Not again. And from now on, I'm going to at least try and engage with my audience. Well, no, not try. I will. I'm going to engage with my audience with full confidence in the future, and I guarantee it.
Nice.
So, I'm honestly really happy for you guys. Alvin, you started off walking into the classroom feeling anxious.
Started off in a fuck tangle, dude. Like
Yeah,
it
dude.
was crazy.
Who knows? Some other kid, some other guy would have walked into the classroom feeling like he was going to die every single day of the semester. But who knows? Like, despite public speaking being the number one thing that people fear other than death, you walk through this semester with brimming confidence. I'm happy for you, dude. And Brandon, despite having the skills needed for this class beforehand, you pushed yourself to new heights. And honestly, I'm really amazed at how much you've developed through this class.
Thank you, JP.
And Brandon, so you tended to drift away from the main point. And while I do try to comprehend speaking out your mind, you really did control yourself a lot. I mean, compared to Brandon, you showed yourself capable of being able to restrain yourself while talking. Like, despite having a position where you're talking in freestyle, you now know through this course when to bring yourself back. You know how to not get lost. You obtained that torch in that dark forest, and right now you were guiding yourself this entire time during this final podcast. That was really amazing.
Thank you, JP. Appreciate you.
So through this class, we've all gained a lot from this class, and well, even though we've had our ups and downs in the past with public speaking, we've pushed ourselves to new heights, like I said, and we managed to achieve things greater than who we are 6 weeks ago. I also want to, for me, I also want to give a huge shout out to Professor Commodore and Professor Kiran for giving me the strength here to stand today to speak out my mind. And, well, I guess that's all from me. Alright, gang, that's a wrap. Thank you for joining us here at Solano Community College. This is the Awareness System. I'm your host, JP, signing off.